man, I tell you, I don't think I can keep track of all this stuff. There's so many bills. This place just generates a lot of... Well, hey, good morning, 2nd District, State Representative Andrew Barkis. It's time for another breakdown, and I'm coming to you this time from my floor seat here on the House floor. And I was trying to think back the last time I actually did a video, a Barkis Breakdown from the House floor, and it's got to be at least 3-4 years ago. Of course, we weren't on the House floor the last 2 years, so getting a lot of use down here. It's kind of nice to sneak down here and when there's nothing going on, to find a little quiet time, because sometimes you just have to do that here in the legislative building to be able to track all this policy, just to get a clearing of what's going on. But you know, we've actually been on the House floor moving bills, which is a little unusual for this early in session. I think that is indicative of the amount. There's over 750 bills that have been dropped so far this session. 750. Now, will all those make it through the whole process? No, I think when it's all said and done, maybe 300 or 400, but 300 or 400 is still a lot of policy. Hey, let me give you an update on a couple things that I've been working on in the areas that I work on, transportation and housing, and then I also want to highlight another really important bill and some other general information. So, in the transportation front, a couple bills that I've got. One was heard, and I believe exec yesterday, is HB 1371, and this is a really great tax incentive program for our short line rail. Why is that important? Because they're kind of the backbone of the supply chain, and we all know about the supply chain issues we've had here in Washington State, in our country, and we have a really important rail network in Washington State, and it is part of the entire system that keeps goods and services moving throughout. So 1371 is a big one. Excited to see. I think we're going to get that one there. 1518, another policy. This is about rest stop parking. Simple bill, but it really is important about how we can tow vehicles that have been in the rest stops longer than they're supposed to be. Why is that important? Because those rest stops have a purpose, and that is for travelers and for our important truckers to have a space to park when they need to get rest, to get off the road for a safety break. So want to make sure that one was heard this week too. And then the last one in transportation, House Bill 1472, really pushing for a hearing. This is the sales tax shift bill that I've been talking about for a couple of years, to grab some of that sales tax out of the general fund, put it into the transportation budget for maintenance and preservation, which is absolutely needed and critical, and I think this is the best way that we can possibly do that. So hopefully getting a hearing on that. A couple other ones real quick in the housing front. HB 1245, which is the lot split bill. This bill was actually exec'd out of committee yesterday, and this I think is going to be one of the better housing policies amongst the suite of housing policies to get at our supply issue. It's a simple process. We worked together with the stakeholders, cities and builders and everybody, and came up with some really great amendments. That's part of the process, working together to get a really good product. And as a result, it was exec'd out of committee, and hopefully we'll see it on the floor next week for a vote. The other one is House Bill 1337. This is the ADU bill. Man, I've talked about ADUs for years. Maybe this is the year that this thing actually gets done. Again, another policy that is getting worked through the process. It was exec'd out of committee. Lots of work left to do on that one, but I'm hoping that we'll also see that on the floor here real soon. And then lastly, House Bill 1519. This is permit reform. So we're talking about supply side. How do we get at the supply? One of the best ways we can get at it is to remove some of those barriers when it comes to the regulatory piece, the delays that are part of the permitting process. This bill streamlines that. It has been worked on for a couple years, and it puts some hard dates, puts some requirements in there so that when people go to get their permits, they can actually get them in a timely manner to get to building the product that we need to help with our housing supply issue. Lastly, I just want to say a couple other bills that are floating around here. One that is extremely important for public safety and extremely important for the citizens of the state of Washington, and that's House Bill 1363. That's the police pursuit bill, and I think you've been hearing a little bit about that over the last couple of years. This bill came back last year as a result of the policies that were done a few years ago that really impacted public safety, some in a positive way, some in a very negative way. And one of the things that came about was the inability for our law enforcement to pursue those in the act of a crime. That's kind of a big deal. And what we've seen is the massive increase in these crimes, right? So this pursuit bill is moving its way through, and I personally believe, as well as my colleagues, the vast majority of my colleagues, this bill needs to happen. It was heard, and I'm hoping to see it be exec out of committee and give us a chance to debate it here on the floor of the House, get that bill passed so that we can return some of those really critical tools to our law enforcement to do the jobs that we ask them to do every day. Lots going on. I know that's a ton of stuff, right? And it's just the beginning. We're just in still a couple weeks of committee work before we get to cutoff, and then we get to spend a lot of quality time together on the floor of the House passing these pieces of legislation that are so important. Now, there's a lot of them out there that are ones that we really don't like. Maybe we'll talk about that next time and see where those are at, and hopefully those won't be coming to the floor, because I don't want to see policy come forth that's going to be detrimental to the great work that we are doing together, especially on the housing front. Well, thanks for watching another Barkis Breakdown. I hope that it's been informative. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter, my email that comes out. Watch these videos. Come by and see me. Man, I tell you, you're taking me up on that. My appointments have been off the charts as far as people coming here to Olympia to visit with me. And as I always say, it's an honor and a privilege to serve the people of the 2nd District. Thanks for watching.